The spaceport was crowded, noisy, and alive with the constant hum of engines and chatter in dozens of languages. Ships of all sizes came and went, carrying passengers and cargo between planets. Among the crowd, a figure moved quietly, her steps cautious but steady. She was an alien woman named Lyra, and she carried herself with grace despite the stares she drew. Her face was marked with deep scars from an accident during interstellar travel. And almost immediately, the humans around her noticed. Whispers followed her wherever she went. Children stared, their parents pulling them close. Workers at the ports exchanged uneasy glances, some openly turning away. Lyra had expected curiosity. She had traveled to many planets before, but the level of avoidance here was different. It stung, but she did not falter. She had a mission, and no human's prejudice would stop her. She walked toward the docks where cargo ships were being loaded. Her eyes, bright and sharp, scanned the machinery, looking for something familiar. Lyra's species had advanced knowledge of starship engineering, and she knew she could find work if someone would only see past her scars. "Hey, you there," called a human foreman, looking her up and down. "We don't hire. Well, not you." His voice was polite but firm, a mask for the discomfort everyone else felt. Lyra forced herself to smile, showing no anger. "I only want to repair the ships. That's all." The foreman hesitated, then shook his head. "Sorry. We've got plenty of engineers. Maybe, some other time." She nodded, not letting the rejection break her spirit. She had survived worse than prejudice. If these humans could not see her skill, she would find another way. Walking through the market streets, Lyra noticed small groups whispering about her, some pointing discreetly. She knew she looked different. Her skin was smooth but patterned with a faint shimmer in the sunlight, and the scars on her face caught the light in ways humans found unsettling, but she also knew that she was far more capable than most of them. Her mind was sharp, her hands precise, and her experience with advanced technology unmatched. Hours passed. Lyra wandered from the busy streets into quieter parts of the colony. Here, old starships were abandoned, rusting and decaying, left behind by explorers who had given up. Humans seldom came to these parts. It was a place for the unwanted, forgotten, and lost. To Lyra, it felt like home. She approached a large ship that had once been a sleek transport vessel. Its hull was scratched and worn, engines silent for decades. Her fingers traced the lines of the metal, and she could almost hear the heartbeat of the ship beneath her hands. She smiled softly, her eyes lighting up. This ship was not useless. It had potential. She could restore it. For days, Lyra worked in secret. She scavenged parts from nearby wrecks, tested the circuits, and repaired the engines. Every move she made was precise and deliberate. The ship began to hum faintly, a quiet testament to her skill. Unbeknownst to her, someone had been watching. KL, the colony's most admired pilot, had noticed her from afar. He was handsome, confident, and skilled, the kind of human everyone admired and some envied. But KL was different. He had a natural curiosity about the universe, and he respected talent wherever he found it. Lyra's work had caught his attention. He approached cautiously, not wanting to startle her. "You're good," he said simply. Watching her solder a delicate circuit, Lyra looked up, surprised. "You noticed?" Kale smiled. "I always notice skill. Looks don't matter to me." Her heart skipped a beat. For the first time since arriving, she felt seen not for her scars, not for her alien features, but for what she could do. "Thank you," she said quietly. He nodded. "I'm KL. I fly ships around this colony, sometimes between planets. You might be able to help me with something, if you're interested." Lyra hesitated. Trust did not come easily, not after the way the humans had avoided her. But there was something genuine in Kale's eyes, something that promised respect, not judgment. She decided to take the chance. "I'm Lyra," she said. "I would like that. I'm Lyra." The next few days passed in a blur of activity. Kyle introduced her to a few trusted engineers, and together they explored the abandoned shipyard. Lyra's hands flew over the machinery, repairing engines, rewiring systems, and upgrading controls. Her skill was undeniable. The ship that had been discarded as useless now gleamed with new life, its engines humming like a living creature. Some humans still avoided her, whispering about her scars and alien appearance. But Kale didn't care. He treated her as an equal, even as others struggled to accept her presence. He admired her mind, her courage, and her determination. One evening, as the twin suns of the colony set over the horizon, Lyra and Kale stood side by side on the deck of the newly repaired ship. The metal reflected the golden light, and the hum of the engines filled the air. "You've done an amazing job," Kale said. "This ship, it's better than anything we've had in decades." Lyra felt a warmth she had not experienced in a long time. "Thank you. I only wanted to help." Kale smiled. "You've done more than help. You've reminded us what we forget too often. That skill, courage, and heart matter more than appearances." Lyra looked at him, her eyes reflecting both gratitude and hope. She had come to this colony alone, rejected and shunned, but now she felt something she had not felt in years: belonging. But the peace was temporary. In the distance, sensors detected something unusual. A signal from deep space, moving rapidly toward the colony. Kale's expression darkened. "We might have trouble soon," he said. "I don't know what it is yet, but it doesn't look friendly." Lyra's heart raced, but she did not panic. Kale nodded. "Good. I want you by my side when this happens. I trust your skill." For the first time, Lyra felt not just seen, but needed. She had survived prejudice, loneliness, and doubt, but now she had an opportunity to show the humans what she was truly capable of. And she was ready. As the night fell over the colony, the stars above twinkled like distant fires. Lyra stared at them, thinking of the journey that had brought her here. The scars, the rejections, the quiet determination. She knew that challenges were coming, but she also knew that she was not alone. Kale placed a hand on her shoulder. "Whatever comes, we face it together," he said. Lyra smiled, her heart steady. "Together," she echoed. And for the first time since her exile, she felt hope. The colony's sensors had been unusually quiet for years. That was part of why the warning from the deep space array felt so alarming. Kale's brow furrowed as he stared at the readings on the console. A fleet was approaching alien ships, fast and heavily armed. They were not here for trade or communication. They were here to conquer. Lyra stood beside him, her fingers tapping on the controls of the newly repaired transport ship. "How many ships are we talking about?" she asked. Kale shook his head, his expression grim. "Too many for our fleet to handle. If we fight them directly, we'll lose. We need a different approach." Lyra's mind raced. She had been preparing for the day she might have to test her skills under pressure, but she had never imagined it would be so soon. She glanced at the ship they had restored together. Its engines were powerful, its design sleek and agile. This ship, it can help, but we'll need to modify it quickly, make it faster, stealthier. We have to outsmart them, not outgun them. Kale looked at her, a spark of hope in his eyes. "Then you lead the modifications. I'll support you however you need." Over the next few hours, Lyra worked tirelessly. She removed old engines and replaced them with more efficient ones, scavenged from nearby derelict ships. She rewired the navigation system to allow for quicker maneuvers and installed stealth technology that she had improvised from alien designs she had studied in the past. Kyle and a few trusted engineers assisted her, but Lyra directed every step. The other humans watched from a distance. Many still whispered about her scars, but their fear of the approaching fleet forced them to pay attention. Slowly, some began to realize that her alien appearance did not matter. Her mind was unmatched, her courage undeniable. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, the ship was ready. Its hull gleamed under the artificial lights of the dock, engines humming with potential energy. Lyra climbed into the cockpit, her hands moving over the controls with precision. Kale followed, taking his place beside her. "Ready?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Lyra nodded. "Ready." The engines roared to life, and the ship lifted off the dock, its new systems responding perfectly to her commands. She guided it through narrow streets and over the rooftops of the colony, testing its agility and speed. Every turn, every maneuver, was flawless. Kale watched, impressed. "You've improved this ship beyond anything we've had before," he said. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. "It's not perfect yet, but it's enough to give us a chance." Re. Their moment of preparation ended abruptly. The alien fleet appeared over the horizon, sleek ships shimmering with advanced technology. They moved with deadly precision, firing warning beams that illuminated the darkening sky. Panic swept through the colony as civilians scrambled for shelter, and defensive turrets fired into the void, barely scratching the alien ships. Kale turned to Lyra. Lyra's hands tightened on the controls. Fear was there, of course it was, but she did not let it control her. "We move smart. We strike where they least expect." They flew toward the fleet, using the ship's stealth systems to slip between their patrols. Lyra had calculated their movements, predicting gaps in their formation. With every dodge, every twist of the ship, she gained confidence. Kyle could see the determination in her eyes. She was not just fighting for herself, but for everyone who had doubted her. Suddenly, one of the alien ships detected them. A beam of energy struck the hull, sending the cockpit shaking. Alarms blared. Lyra's mind raced, and without hesitation, she adjusted the shields, redirected energy to the engines, and pulled the ship into a sharp dive. The beam missed them by inches, and Kale let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "You've got nerves of steel," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Lyra's jaw tightened. "Focus, Kale. We're not done yet." They moved deeper into the enemy formation, using stealth and agility to confuse the alien ships. Lyra had designed the ship to exploit their blind spots, and it worked. The aliens fired blindly, their attacks missing by small margins, while Lyra maneuvered with perfect timing. During a sharp turn, KL noticed one of the alien ships targeting a civilian transport. "They're going to hit that transport," he shouted. Lyra reacted instantly. She calculated a trajectory that would intercept the alien ship while avoiding the civilians. The maneuver was risky, requiring precise timing and perfect execution. But Lyra's hands moved confidently over the controls. The alien ship collided with the edge of their ship's path, spinning out of control and crashing harmlessly into an empty asteroid field. Kale stared at her in amazement. That was incredible." Lyra didn't respond. Her focus was already on the next threat. The alien fleet had noticed them, and now the danger was greater than ever. She moved with grace, weaving through the formation, using the ship's new capabilities to maximum effect. She targeted weak points in the enemy ship's armor, using clever tactics rather than brute force. Every strike she made saved lives. Hours passed, and the battle raged on. Lyra and Kale fought side by side, navigating through chaos with precision. Slowly, they began to turn the tide. Alien ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The humans, inspired by the skill and courage of the alien woman they had once shunned, joined in the defense with renewed energy. Finally, the fleet began to retreat. The remaining ships fled back into deep space, leaving the colony battered but intact. Lyra and Kale returned to the dock, their ship gliding smoothly over the landing pads. Exhausted but triumphant, they climbed out, greeted by cheers from the humans who had once ignored her. Kale turned to her, smiling. "You did it. You saved everyone." Lyra shook her head, her eyes shining. "We did it. Together." The humans who had avoided her now looked at her differently. Some offered apologies. Others nodded in respect. Lyra accepted none of it for herself. Her reward was the knowledge that she had proven her worth, that her scars did not define her ability. Kale stepped closer. "I want you to know, I've never cared about your scars. I've only admired your skill, your courage, and your heart. That's why I asked for your help. That's why I chose to trust you." Lyra felt a warmth spread through her chest. For the first time, she truly believed it. She had been judged for her appearance, but in the face of crisis, humans saw her for who she really was. As the colony began to rebuild, Lyra and Kale worked together to repair the damage, organize defenses, and ensure the fleet could not return so easily. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, built not on appearances or beauty, but on respect, trust, and shared experience. One evening, Lyra walked through the colony square, watching humans move about their lives. Some still whispered about her scars, but others smiled at her openly, acknowledging her contribution. She realized that acceptance could grow slowly, that courage and talent could break down prejudice over time. Kyle joined her, leaning casually against the railing beside her. "You know," he said, "some people still won't understand you. They'll judge you for your scars, your appearance. But that doesn't matter. Not to me, and not to the people who truly count." Lyra looked at him, a faint smile on her lips. "And I've learned that I don't need everyone to accept me. Just the ones who matter." Kale nodded. "Then let's make sure we matter to each other. And to the colony. Wake. Two. Lyra's eyes sparkled as she looked at the stars above. She had survived prejudice, proved her worth, and discovered that courage, skill, and heart were stronger than fear and judgment. And now, she had someone who saw her entirely, without fear or prejudice. The colony was safe for now, but the universe was vast, full of unknown threats and challenges. Lyra felt ready. With Kale by her side, she knew they could face anything. Together, they would protect their home, explore the stars, and prove that humans, and those who chose to see the best in others, were capable of extraordinary things. And so, as night fell over the colony, Lyra prepared for the challenges ahead. The scars on her face told a story of survival, pain, and resilience. But her actions told an even greater story, one of courage, intelligence, and the power to change the world. The universe was vast, but Lyra was ready to meet it head-on. The sky above the colony was dark, lit only by the occasional flicker of emergency lights and the stars beyond. The threat from the alien fleet had not completely disappeared. Sensors indicated a small, advanced strike team had broken off from the main group, likely planning a second assault. This time, the humans could not fight blindly, they needed a strategy. Lyra stood on the deck of the ship they had rebuilt together. Her scars caught the dim light, but she paid them no mind. She was focused on the calculations, the tactical maps, and the defense of the people who had once avoided her. Beside her, Kale checked his instruments, his hands steady despite the tension in the air. "Lyra," he said softly, "if anyone can outsmart them, it's you." She turned to him, her eyes firm and determined. We don't just fight them with weapons. We fight them with our minds. We show them that they cannot underestimate humans or me. Kale nodded. I trust you. The alien strike team arrived just as Lyra had predicted. 5 sleek ships emerged from hyperspace, moving silently, but with deadly intent. Civilians below ran for cover, defensive turrets firing at the intruders, but the shots barely scratched the alien hulls. Lyra gripped the controls. Follow my lead. We'll draw them away from the colony and into open space. There. We can fight on our terms. Kale followed her instructions perfectly. Together, they guided the ship out of the colony, moving quickly and silently through asteroid fields and nebulae. Lyra's engineering upgrades gave them the edge in speed and maneuverability. The alien ships, confident and aggressive, followed. Keep steady, Lyra said. I've calculated the trajectory. One wrong move, and they'll destroy us. Kale's eyes met hers, and in that moment, they shared trust that went beyond words. I've got you, he said. The first encounter came swiftly. An alien ship fired a high-energy beam, slicing through the empty space around them. Lyra twisted the controls, using every trick she had learned from her travels and studies. The ship darted through the void like a living creature, dodging attacks and returning fire with carefully aimed plasma bursts. Kale shouted over the alarms. They're faster than I thought. Lyra's voice was calm, commanding. Then we outsmart them. Follow my lead. She led them into a narrow asteroid belt. The aliens followed blindly, their advanced technology unable to match the precise maneuvers Lyra executed. Rocks tore past their hulls, engines screeching under the strain. But the human ship remained intact. She had predicted their paths down to the smallest fraction, forcing the alien ships to crash into the asteroids one by one. Almost there, Lyra muttered, her eyes scanning the holographic display. Just a little further. Finally, the last enemy ship emerged from the belt, damaged but still dangerous. Lyra and Kale had anticipated this. She activated a stealth module she had improvised, disappearing from the enemy's sensors. The alien ship, thinking the humans had fled, moved carelessly. Lyra seized the moment, guiding the ship into a hidden position. Kale leaned forward, whispering, "Now?" Lyra nodded. "Now." With a precise calculation, she fired the ship's upgraded weapons, hitting weak points in the alien ship's hull. The vessel shuddered and exploded in the darkness of space, debris scattering like stars. The rest of the alien fleet, seeing their strike team obliterated, began to retreat into the void. Lyra exhaled, her heart racing. It's over. For now. Kale reached out, placing a hand on her shoulder. You did it. You saved the colony again. You were brilliant. Lyra allowed herself a small smile. Returning to the colony, they were greeted as heroes. The humans who had avoided her, whispered about her scars, or doubted her abilities, now looked upon her with admiration. Some still struggled to speak, but their awe was clear. Lyra didn't seek recognition, but she accepted it with quiet dignity. The colony council approached them, offering thanks and praise. Kyle spoke first, introducing Lyra. This is Lyra. Without her skill and courage, we wouldn't have survived the attacks. She is the one who led us to victory. There was silence for a moment, and then applause broke out. Lyra's heart swelled with an emotion she had rarely felt: acceptance. She had been judged for her appearance, but her actions had earned respect, and that respect was real. Later, Kyle and Lyra walked through the colony square, where civilians moved freely once more. Children ran past, waving at the two heroes, some daring to look closely at her scars. Instead of fear, there was curiosity, admiration, and a newfound understanding. You've changed things, Kale said. Not just for the colony, but for everyone here. They see that strength, courage, and skill aren't defined by appearances. Lyra nodded. It wasn't easy. People can be slow to change. But maybe this is the start. New. Kale looked at her, his gaze steady and warm. You don't have to worry about being accepted by everyone. You just need people who matter. And I see you. All of you. Not your scars, not your past. Just you. Lyra felt her chest tighten with gratitude. For years, she had hidden, traveled alone, and endured rejection. But now, standing beside KL, she felt a connection that was deeper than admiration. It was trust, respect, and a bond, forged in danger and courage. I've never had someone see me like that, she admitted softly. You deserve it, Kale said simply. And I'm not going anywhere. In the days that followed, the colony rebuilt. Lyra helped organize repairs, train new engineers, and improve defenses. She was no longer a stranger or an outcast. She was a leader, a mentor, and a symbol of courage. Humans and aliens alike respected her for her mind, her heart, and her bravery. One evening, as the twin suns of the colony set over the horizon, Kale and Lyra stood on a hill overlooking the settlement. The air was calm, the streets bustling with life, and the stars above sparkled as if celebrating their triumph. Kale placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. Look at what we've done. The colony is safe, people are inspired, and we've shown that appearances don't define worth. Lyra smiled, her eyes reflecting both the sunset and a quiet determination. Yes, and we've shown that courage and skill can change the world. Kyle turned to her, his expression sincere. And you've shown me that true beauty is in strength, character, and heart. I chose you because of who you are, not your scars, not your past. You. Lyra felt a warmth she had never known. For the first time, she understood that she could be seen, truly seen, and loved for everything she was. She reached for Kale's hand, and he took it without hesitation. The colony had faced an incredible threat, and humans had risen to meet it with ingenuity, courage, and unity. Lyra had proven that even those judged and shunned could change the course of history. She had shown that strength came from within, that skill and heart could outmatch fear and prejudice. As night fell, Lyra and Kale looked up at the stars, the universe stretching infinitely before them. The future was uncertain, full of unknown dangers and opportunities, but they were ready. Together, they would explore, protect, and inspire. And as they stood side by side, the scars on Lyra's face seemed less a mark of past suffering and more a symbol of resilience, courage, and triumph. Humanity had proven once again that it could rise above fear and prejudice, celebrate talent, and embrace the extraordinary. The universe was vast and unpredictable, but Lyra and Kale faced it with confidence, unity, and hope. Whatever challenges awaited them, they knew one thing for certain together: they were unstoppable. And in that moment, the colony understood something else. True heroism comes not from appearance, but from heart, courage, and the willingness to stand for what is right. The stars above twinkled like distant fires, and Lyra felt a sense of belonging, purpose, and pride, unlike anything she had ever known. She was no longer alone. She was no longer shunned. She was a hero, a partner, and a part of something greater than herself. The universe was waiting, and she was ready.